We are here now with the man Kris from Coridian.
Raven.
Woo!
Hello, gentlemen.
What a pleasure, man, and an honor to have you here. So, for those who don't know, Kris Raven from the band Coridian, probably the hardest working band in Auckland. Could you claim that?
Oh, maybe a few years ago.
It's a well-oiled machine.
It's a well-oiled machine.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll take the well-oiled machine bit. Yeah, we'll go with that.
It's like, you guys have been, 2015?
Yep.
Officially since?
Yeah, officially.
And then you took us on tour in 2016 on our band and more at the time. It was a good time. And you guys have just been going hard ever since, releasing singles, doing tours. Yeah, super busy. So at the moment, what's been happening in the Coridian right now?
So we just came off the back of 3, which should have been 4, Harvard album release shows. And we have a little bit of a break, and then we're straight back into 6 shows for Pull Down the Sun in September.
Right. And the big one with North Lane.
And the big one with North Lane.
Yo.
Which is,
Oh my god.
Yeah, that's...
Are you guys doing the Auckland one as well?
No, that's Crooked Royals.
Bastards. How dare they?
It makes sense, though.
A little bit. They did the last one as well. That's
Yeah.
right. They did the
Yeah.
one when we went. We went and saw that gig. That was at
Galatos.
Yes, Galatos.
I was working it out the other day, so I've been following North Lane probably like most of us since Discoveries, which I think might still be one of my top favourite North Lane albums.
Great album.
I remember seeing them at Soundwave in Australia. I saw them at Ellen Melville.
Wow.
No, sorry.
Ellen Melville?
No, sorry, Zeal West.
Zeal West?
Yeah, they played Zeal West on Singularity Tour.
Damn.
Is
that 20... No.
It was like 2013.
2013.
Got the signed CD. What's the still got?
Yo.
Fanboyed out, and then saw them at King's Arms twice. So Node and Mesmer.
Yeah. I saw them at King's... Was that with you as well?
No,
it wasn't.
That was just after our gig. They played, I think, after our tour they played.
Yeah.
I went along to that with Hayden. I remember that. And then we went to watch them at the Galatas. I've seen them twice, but I will happily see them a third time.
I'm pretty sure we were all at the King's Arms one.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was the first or the second one, but I was like quite drunk. And I was like walking through the crowd trying to be nice, holding my cup up like this, like getting close to the front. And then someone knocked me, it slipped back on someone. I turn around to apologize and I get punched in the face. And I'm like, because I was kind of like in a really great mood and like drunk, I was like, you know what? I don't even care. That's great. This is a good night.
Who was it?
I don't know. Don't know. It was a mystery. It'll be a mystery to this day. So yeah, that happened. But yeah, no, North Lane will be incredible, and we haven't really had a international support slot for a long time. So
Skillet?
I think
Or POD?
Skillet.
I went to both those. You guys did both those, right?
Oh yeah, POD.
It was we did Fuel first, and then there was POD, Skillet, and then Fozzy.
Fozzy, that's right.
Yes.
Yeah.
We still talk about the Fozzy gig.
I think you told me about that gig.
Yeah. We got put on the Harry Potter staircase.
That's right. You guys got like tucked away, right?
Yeah, and we weren't allowed to talk to Chris Jericho.
Yeah. Fuck, that's full on diva. That's full diva, right?
But I will say his band are incredible, and they were really nice to us, the band. But we never met Jericho. And like I did kind of go through a wrestling phase when I was younger, and I was like always a big fan of him as a wrestler. But
that's ratchet, man.
That's all right. So that's all good.
The gig with North Lane, that is in Taranaki, right?
No, it's in Okura.
Okay,
just out of New Plymouth.
Just out of New Plymouth.
Yeah.
I think it's like 10 minutes out.
And that's in...
That's December. It's Crate Day.
Yo. And you know people are going to be loading up.
Oh, yeah. And the cool thing is like, I think, because the North Lane Auckland gig's on a Friday, and then the other one, and then the big one's on a Saturday. And so I've had so many people hit me up being like, we're going to make this big weekend. Like, everyone's got like a 3-day weekend planned for the North Lane gig.
That's awesome.
So I'm like, all right, how many after parties can I attend?
How many beers are you going to be able to consume?
Well, I'm pretty
the real thing.
I'm
That's a real
very
question.
I'm very good these days. Like me and Nick have got it down to a fine art in terms of like, our drinking limit before we play, as most musicians probably do.
That's healthy.
So it's probably either zero or like maybe a couple with a good meal, and then
Gotta have the good meal.
yeah. And then, but then obviously afterwards it'll be obviously because it's North Lane, Ridden by Wolves, Crooked Royals, etc. Pull Down, Clamus, and Elodie.
What a lineup.
It's gonna be one of those nights to be celebrated. So definitely we're having a few beers, probably some low carbs,
Some low carbs. Are you going to get the Spate Summit, the 7th, because they do crates of Spate Summit.
Do they?
They do.
Oh wow!
So maybe you could do that.
No, I think
That's dangerous.
I think I've done
possible.
a crate once, and I think I got to like, was it 12? There's 12 bottles
Yeah,
in it.
12, yeah.
I think I got to 10, and I didn't enjoy the experience.
The most I ever got to was 10. And I was
it's
like,
just too much beer.
so much liquid.
Yeah. So no, but yeah, no, that will be a massive show and a great way to end the year. We've got a couple of other shows that haven't been announced yet. So yeah, it's looking like a really good few months coming up for us, which would be great. And the pull down tour, which I think is 12 shows altogether, we're doing half of that, which includes the South Island leg. We haven't been back there since 2019 with the Skinny Hobos, so very excited to get back down there.
Wicked.
Yeah.
Wicked. I just wanted to talk about that single you did with Michael Murphy. And because you are the one doing the backing vocals for that live.
Yeah.
Doing the screamy screams.
Yeah.
He didn't really click, hey? Because
Yeah.
I was like, Michael Murphy's not here, and I was like, I wonder, and then I saw the mic there, and I was like, here we go.
Yeah.
So that was, because I've never heard you do them.
So I actually, I used to scream in Altered States.
I
did?
don't know.
Yeah.
Did I ever see a show? I don't think I ever did. That's probably why I didn't. I was like, oh shit.
There's some recordings on Bandcamp that you could find maybe now. I'm not sure.
I've seen the
have to go
footage.
back.
Like,
Oh, there you go.
Ruben had some footage of
I
it.
saw photos of you holding the mic I think I saw a picture of you. Must have been like back at Robbie's. I think you grabbed the mic and
yeah.
there's like the picture of you. Maybe
Yeah.
you would do it. And I was like, oh, he must have been like having some fun.
Yeah,
But
well,
you were doing it.
it
Like,
became a thing. And then I hadn't screamed since I left Older States. So it had been like, I don't know, like 6 years or something. And yeah, when then we were working out, we're like, okay, so obviously Michael can't come to every show. I can give it a go again. And yeah, I've done it, I don't know, 3 or 4 shows now.
3 or 4
And
shows.
the boys love it. And yeah, so every time we do it, we'll do that. And that's actually led us to conversations about songs in the future.
I was going to say...
Yeah.
This does lead us to the next bit. Yeah.
Because we had, I don't know if you want to jump into that bit, but
Yeah.
we had some good feedback about it. Obviously not in every song and not taking over the song, but definitely adding that element to it. So we are definitely that's in the works for future writing.
I think it's very tasteful because I've heard you guys play live a lot, and with your, especially like Mike's guitar sound and everything like that, you guys have a really large soundscape. And it's, to me, when I hear the screaming in it, it's not like, oh, here's like a melodic chorus and then breakdown with screams. It's like still keeping the big guitar soundscape, and it's just pushing, but it's got its own like unique difference.
Yeah.
So I think it works quite well. It's like you guys doing the screaming and the heavy, but in your way, rather than like, oh, here's breakdown, here's heavy riff. It's not, doesn't
I
come
was
across
surprised
like that.
that this hasn't sort of happened a bit earlier, to be honest.
It's been kind of talked about in the last few years, but I think I didn't really want to overstep into Diddy's territory either. And I think we have such a good balance within the band, and until it was kind of brought up again and people felt comfortable with my involvement in that side of things, I was like, you know what, obviously we've come to a natural course with it, so coming to it now, so so definitely it could be when we release new music again, maybe probably next year. because we know we're still sitting on our new album, there'll definitely be something involved.
How do you find playing and drums and doing the vocal stuff at the same time? How are you liking that? I know what it's like.
Yeah.
It can be a nightmare, but it can also be... we all just got to look to Phil Collins and be like... Yeah,
oh, exactly.
Yeah, he did
even the drummer from Mastodon,
yeah.
Brian, he's
funeral for a friend.
Yeah, he
drummer, he did the backing screams and stuff.
That was one of my favorite bands.
Yeah, they're amazing.
No, I think because I'm used to it. Again, I did it a lot in States. I was effectively doing like co-lead vocals for a while. And it's just getting back into that. I think it's like, especially, it'll be easier now for when I write drum parts with vocals, then I can be like, okay, what's going to work, what's going to balance. And because I got clicks as well, so it's kind of weird having like the click, playing the beat, and then screaming. Yeah. And then you got your backing tracks and your monitor and your vocals, and you're like, wow, there's a lot going on.
Yeah.
I gotta like focus like so many things.
You know what will happen is then the anomaly happens. You drop a stick, and you be like, I've got all this shit going on. It's just like, fuck.
Samples going off screaming, and then it's like,
a stick.
I don't know.
Multitasker.
I don't know. I'll talk to drummer Scott for a second. Do you feel like with dropping drumsticks, you've ever gone through like a phase of like it just kept happening, and then it just doesn't happen really unless it's like an anomaly?
It depends. So I found it was. Do you know when we'd gig, or when bands gig, if I had to use someone else's kit, yeah, I'd totally drop a stick because I get hooked up on someone else's fucking hi-hat or their ride. But if it was my own, that's why I would always use my own shit. Because I was like, nah, just use my kit. It's all good. It's all good. Because I knew I was, this is how I said, this is how I play, and then I was a lot better. So if it was someone else's kit, I will drop the sticks and get hung up on stuff. But if it's my own stuff, then it's good. And then I guess it just comes back to age and arthritis.
True. Yeah, I gotta agree. I gotta agree with you on that. Like, I think, especially the longer we've gone, like, I just want to use my own kit all the time.
Yep.
And then if I know that I can't, and I know the band really well, like Pull Down's a prime example, and Skinny Hobos, because those are the two bands we've gigged with the most. I know that those kits are almost like my second kit. So it's just, you naturally know where everything sits and sounds. So yeah. No,
definitely. It's always a funny thing when it does happen. You're like, you just kind of keep playing, and then there we go. It's all sweet, and someone looks around and goes, bro, what's going on over there?
Oh, honestly, the boys can be like playing, and like they're not even looking at me, and I drop a stick, and then after the show they're like, you dropped a stick, hey? I'm like, yeah,
they just know.
Yeah, they just know.
You always had really quick recovery though. You were pretty quick.
There was a lot of shit that I used to deal with. I don't think, but there was like a time when I was chasing my left pedal round because we had a lot of double bass stuff, and I was like chasing my double kick, and I would pull it back, still play the beat, and pull it back and play the beat, and I was like, for fuck's sakes, man, I need more Velcro on that.
I'm pretty sure we used to put weights in front of your kick drum.
I put weights,
smashes like,
they just keep going forward. So
it's like a running away kick drum.
There's definitely those venues where you need the weights. So.
Yeah, it was a bit of a mission, but yeah.
Oh, that reminds me of that just reminds me, speaking of kick drums, was when we were one of the venue we played, and they didn't mic your drum kit, so we plugged in your kick drum into a bass amp. Do you remember that?
Yeah,
wow.
Yeah, that would happen.
That was it. Oh, no, I'll say it is at UFO, and they didn't have a proper setup for the drums.
Oh man, UFO, wow.
Yeah. You've played there?
Not with Coridian.
Oh, okay.
But I have played there. Yeah, I think I played there once, and that's all I'm going to say.
Yeah, fair enough. But I just remember no, I think they did mic the kick, but it was coming through like these little monitors, and it was just peaking the shit out of them. And then I was like, no, we need to do something about this. And they had a massive bass rack, like huge bass amp, and it was like, let's just do that.
Yeah.
And it worked real good.
I'd done it once before when I was quite young, playing at a local party where it was like a 21st, and we couldn't afford a big setup. And there was an extra bass cab, and I was like, yo, that's going on the kick drum. And it totally worked. It just brought it up to like where we could get the guitars. Everything else. I mean, we don't need snares and cymbals, Mike. We all know that.
Especially in the small venues.
Nah, but the kick drum, I was like, fuck. But yeah, it does work. To any drummers out there, use the bass rig.
bass rig, hard out. What's so kind of with Coridian right now, like guys have obviously got the album recorded, touring and that. How often? Because you guys are such a well-oiled machine now. How often do you guys practice?
Honestly, yeah, like for years we practice once a week.
Yeah.
Same location. But I think as we've gotten on a little bit, guys having kids, priorities, etc. I mean, ideally it's once a week, but it's probably about once a fortnight now.
Once a fortnight.
But to be fair, we only rehearse to write now. Everyone's pretty on the ball. Like, technology's helped with click, so everyone's on a click. Well, I'm on a click, but everyone's got, all the stuff to be able to practice at home. And, if we're rehearsing for a tour, we'll probably do 1-2 practices for that tour because we want to get that set list right, and it's all about the flow and everything. That's the most important bit. But yeah, so generally probably, maybe every second week we'll practice. And it's more just for the hangs and the fun. And at the moment we've just started writing for the first time in like a year, so that's been really fun.
One thing that has always gotten to me about this music industry in New Zealand, I've said this heaps to you and probably to you as well actually, is about the fact that Coridian had such a sound that you could put anywhere. It was a very pleasing sound. It had some heavier moments, but not like distorted, screamy heavy moments. Can't wait for the new stuff. But it was so pleasing to listen to and easy to listen to for rock music. And I was always so fucked off that it was never on a mainstream scale. And I was like,
you are now though. You're on like Hauraki. You've been on the rock.
But how long did it take?
It took so long.
Yeah.
It took a long time.
Man, give these guys a break, dude.
I think it's all politics. But the Rock is still playing Coexist on nights. So that, they've definitely. I think we've had 3 or 4 tracks on the Rock now. We haven't day listed officially. I think we day listed with Wicked Game, and then that got pulled. And I think there was some drama around that.
Because that was a cover? Do you mind me asking?
I think it wasn't. No, it wasn't a cover because the cover got official. You went through all the official channels. Blah blah blah. If we ever make it to 1 million streams, Kris Isaac will get some money, I imagine.
Yeah.
No, it was to do with the fact. I think to do with that Corey Taylor had just released his cover.
Oh,
and I think I think the audience weren't really vibing with ours and they were vibing with his, and so they kind of pulled it out. And retrospectively now I'm like, I get it. At the time I was really gutted. But I the way things go, that's how it is. But I'm super stoked that they have played our last 2 or 3 tracks from the album. We've gone in with Lee when he was doing Rock Nights and had some interviews, and that's been really cool. So they have definitely been supporting us in the last couple of years, and I think we've even gotten onto the Rock 2000 a couple of years now as well.
I remember seeing that.
And then Greg at Hauraki has had us on a couple of times for interviews and played the song kind of like a one-off thing, but I guess we've never officially mainstream debuted in the daytime listening, which is where you want to be in, but
you're in that constant rotation.
But to be fair, like
it doesn't really matter these days, does it?
No, I mean there's just so many places where you can listen to it now.
Yeah, I mean you got Spotify Music, Apple to Deezer, Tidal. People use that, and then obviously YouTube Music as well is massive.
Yeah, and I think for us, like we've always had a really amazing relationship with DRM, the New Zealand distributor for music, and they've always really like tried so hard to get us onto playlists, and that's where it's at as well in terms of streaming numbers, if people are into that. And it's a feel good thing, like really, like for you guys as well. I imagine, you see your subscribers grow and all that, and your numbers. And people can write it off as much as they want, but it's pretty cool knowing that we've got a song in Spotify that's got 300,000 listens.
That's cool. That's very cool.
And that's and a lot of that comes down to like DRM and people pitching our songs to playlists, and that's definitely helped a lot for us as well. So yeah, I think there's other ways, and the New Zealand music industry, probably like all the industries around the world, is there's definitely some cobwebs in there.
If you get like
behind.
if you get like day plays of your music on the radio, because I'm trying to think. My goal as a musician, if I was like doing music in New Zealand again, I'd be like, I want to be playing homegrown. That was what that's the pinnacle for me. That's where I wanted to be.
It really is, yeah.
Musically. And I was like, for me, when I hear what Coridian is as a sound, how long it's been around, how much it works when you gig and you tour, and it just works. And I'm like, why aren't these guys here? Because they're not going to pull out. They'll all make it there. They'll all walk straight on stage. You can say, "Oh, we can't have any of your gear here." You guys will turn up and go, "Doesn't matter, man. We'll play."
Yeah, you make it work.
You put us on stage, and the four of us will play.
Yeah.
And I'm like, and you're so finely tuned to playing live. I'm like, can you get to Homegrown or somewhere like that?
As far as I'm aware, with Homegrown, is you either, like you kind of said, you either have to be played probably daily or close to daily on mainstream radio, or you have to have a
Pretty
very
big following.
large amount of streams on whatever channels. We're close to it. Like we're definitely. It's kind of like the New Zealand on-air funding. The more boxes you tick, the easier it is to get the funding in a way.
Isn't that interesting though?
It
Because
is.
you'd think you'd want the funding to be geared towards people who are busting their balls in the beginning, rather than, not saying later that you shouldn't get it, but you know what I mean? It's like the funding in my head should go to people who struggle in the beginning.
Yeah, it doesn't work like that though.
Yeah,
I know it doesn't. I'm very aware it doesn't because I've applied for it and I got fucking nothing.
But to be fair as well,
I'm bitter.
I actually, with New Zealand and air funding, I see both sides. I see the musicians that are upset about it, but I also see where New Zealand Air is coming from, and I think back in the day, a lot of people took advantage of that funding. So they do have to be a lot tighter about it, and we're extremely grateful to them because they've given us 3.
For music videos or just production?
It's generally always music videos.
Yeah.
I think Reflections got it. So that was back in 2016. Rite of Passage in 2019, and then we got State of Mind. But I mean, again, it's that I guess it's that word that everyone uses now, hustling. Like, if you're just going to play a couple of gigs at the same venue in the same town, and you're going to record, again, it does come down to money, but if you're going to record in a way that maybe that's not up to the standard where it could be, and you're not presenting yourself in the world as I hate to use the word, but as a product or a brand, then why would someone give you money?
It's the business. It's the business
Thing. And so for us, we just were like, well, we're just going to do what we do, but we are going to be smart about it as well. And we've never had to compromise with any of the music we write. And when we got the State of Mind funding, I couldn't believe it. I was like, cool, a 5/4 song. Got NZ on air funding, and then the Rock played it and Haruki played it, and I was like, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
All right. So
Yeah. So yeah, and again,
pop song.
they've helped us have a lot as well. So props to them as well. But I get the other side as well.
It's tricky, because I guess my argument is always sort of like in the beginning of the process. But yeah, coming back to the fact getting taken advantage of, like the funding, which give an inch, whatever, people just will take as much as they can. So
yeah,
I understand that. But yeah, it's I guess it's just because now, like, if you want to be a band, we talked about this last time with JP, you have to do so much. I mean, you're not just a musician anymore.
No,
you got to be business to music videos to content to and also the level of the production. Unless you've got a massive buzz, like I feel like rappers get away with it a little bit because in hip hop, I think recording, not all the time, but I feel like I've heard some like, let's say SoundCloud rappers or some modern rappers, and they just do really well. The recording quality and production, horrendous.
It's crap.
It's shit, but they do really well, which is down to obviously the genre is very popular.
Yeah.
These artists are popular, and rappers are much better than people in rock world at being brand ambassadors and being much better at marketing.
They back themselves since day one.
They back themselves, right? And then it's much better than I guess the alternative rock metal music scene, they're much better at it. So I do notice those things, but I guess that's just my
Well,
opinion.
I guess 2 points to that. I think with rock music, and I've seen this because I do reviews for music.net sometimes.
Shout out music.net, they're amazing.
Shout out to
Is
Lisa
that why we got
and
such a bad
music.net.
review?
Great team.
They've always been great to me.
These guys suck.
You guys are too nice. Needs to be more brutal.
Well, I find when I do, because I mainly stick to the stuff I know. Like, I'm not going to go and write a review about rap, even though I do enjoy some rap. I don't consider myself an expert on the genre. But I guess with rock and metal, I'd like to think that I know a little bit. And you do get so many subgenres of music, of rock and metal. And I've got to say, like 95% of the songs you hear, the production level is incredible. But then when you do get those ones floating through that sound like what, say, my band did, well, an older band, say, 10, 15 years ago, when we didn't have this technology that we've got now, you're like, that's really odd. Like, you kind of question why people maybe went that way, and you go, well, it's probably money. But we do live in an age where people can record in a really basic setup now, and it can sound incredible. So I think that's that's kind of something that is really important for rock and metal, because you want it to be at a certain level already when it comes out.
Yeah.
And then the problem with that is we've gotten to a level where it's so incredibly intense in terms of production value that you're always trying to catch up to that as well.
Is it better just to pull back and do something a bit more raw then?
I don't know, and I think it depends on the type. Like, I mean,
you guys could probably get away with it. I find that when we went to your album release, it sounded so much bigger than the recording. And not just because of a live thing. I was just like, oh, everything's really hitting, and which is good. That's exactly what you want. You want people to go, oh man, this mix is good, this song is good, and all that. And then you go to the live, and you're like, whoa, that punched me in the face way harder than the actual. Which is, there's nothing worse than hearing a great band and then going to a gig and going, oh.
Yeah.
Let down, which is what I did not have. Like, I had the total opposite. I went going, oh, okay, yeah, I know some of the songs. Now I've heard the album, went to the gig, and I was like, man, this shit is hitting way harder than what.
But I think that's what we've always kind of had. Like, with Zoran, shout out to Zoran. He has always tried to capture that live feel of our music. But as we've gotten on, and then now we've been introducing backing tracks the last few years, obviously the more layers you add, it probably comes a little bit harder to have that live, raw feel to it. But yeah, I think that's just awesome that you can listen to the album and then go to us live and go, yeah, that's so much better.
Oh, it just hit way hard,
That's
which
great.
is what I actually really enjoyed about it, and I think that comes back to the whole. You say, oh, it's a well-oiled machine. It's not just like, oh, they really know their shit. It's like, no, they've gigged and toured so much that they just know whether they've got to push a bit harder or pull back a little bit depending on the venue. And I think it's kind of, you kind of know the sounds. So it might be in some ways easier for an engineer to go, oh, I've mixed these guys a few times before.
And it also comes down to, and again, it is a money thing, but like, we have always talked about it for years, and on and off we've had our own sound guy. And we had, shout out to Tyler, we had Tyler Burke doing our sound for that Auckland show.
Nice.
And that's something that we're really like, well, maybe going forward we should have him all the time.
Yeah.
Because he knows our sound, he knows when he gets into the room, he's like, okay, that's where the levels are going to be. But it is a money thing as well.
Yeah.
So you got to put that into all your costs and your budget and stuff. So
How long have you been playing drums?
so I started playing drums when I was 13, and
shit.
I am now 36.
Fuck. Oh, man. It's done the groundwork.
Yeah, but I started on keys when I was like 8, and then I played guitar because I wanted to be like my dad and my brother.
Guitar's gay, bro.
But I was yeah.
Everyone plays guitar.
No, well, I actually went to a classical guitar tutor. I could actually play scales, and I was like, no, scales are lame. I'm gonna play Green Day.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, I did something similar.
that is my biggest regret, because to this day I wish I had just followed on that path. But it didn't feel as natural as the drums as soon as I picked up the drumsticks. And I had lessons for 5 years all through school. Was in music class, learnt theory. I could, sadly now again it's fallen away, I could write drum music. I can, transcribe it.
Wow.
Yeah, so been playing drums a long time.
And I won't get too much into your drum side. Just quickly on your going forward with the band. If you're going to be incorporating some lyrics, okay, and we know that Diddy is a phenomenal singer-songwriter. How does that process, or any ideas on how that process is going to work now with, are you guys going to sit down specifically, or is he going to pick a topic, or are you going to pick a topic, or are you just going to back up what he's
I would
written?
probably back up what he's doing, because again, it's crazy when he started doing those videos a few years ago where he broke down all the lyrics in the song. Even me and the boys were like, whoa.
Right, he's got a bit of an ear to him.
There's like layers going on in like each line of the song. I was blown away. So I wouldn't mess with any of that, because that's a great process.
Dude, I've had a single and a video clip I did years ago, and I've never released it.
Yeah.
And I sent it to him.
Yeah.
And he's the only guy that picked it apart. And I was like, how the fuck do you know what was influencing me? And he actually nailed it. And I was like, that is creepy, man. He fully was like, it sounds like this and it sounds like this. Were they the bands that inspired you? And I was like, that is messed up that he actually knew.
Yeah.
He's the only dude that's ever picked it apart and said,
Wow.
you're doing this and this. And I was like, oh, it's a bit creepy.
Yeah.
It's like, he knows his shit.
Yeah, I wouldn't. I would only do it if he wanted to collaborate on lyrics, because I'm very.
Hey, maybe that'll happen.
Yeah, I'm super stoked with how he does everything in his process, and why ruin a good thing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And his energy live as well. Jesus
Yeah,
Christ.
all that jumping
If you haven't
and-
seen Coridian, you should probably go see them live. That is a ball of energy.
Yeah.
The whole band is. Mike as well included. Nick still does Nick.
Nick does Nick. Nick will always do Nick.
Nick definitely does Nick.
But like again, and that's another really, really important thing I've wanted to talk about for a while is when you get reviewed, especially live reviews. When we started out, we would always get, Music.net would send a live reviewer along, and they'd be like, Coridian played, and they were really honest. And I feel like the honest stuff isn't happening as much anymore. People are like, oh no, it was an awesome show, that band was phenomenal. And it's like, not every band is great, especially when they start out. In fact, we're not great when we start out. So for us, when we were getting really good constructive criticism, being like, oh, they're a bit stale on stage, they look like statues, the dynamic seems a bit strange, or whatever they were saying, we literally would pick up that review and go, brilliant, thank you. And we worked on it, and we worked and we worked and we worked. And if you had seen us before, when it was just, you guys were there early on, Nick and Mike's transition to where they are now is night and day. And I mean, Diddy's always been the flying pogo, but even him and just the general dynamic of how we do it live now compared to say 4, 5, 6 years ago is worlds apart. And I think constructive criticism in live music reviews is so important, and I wish more people were a little bit more, not brutal about it, but just really like, hey, you know what? Yeah, you guys are good, but like, you could improve on this.
Yeah. Oh, maybe we should do it. I mean,
live music reviews.
I mean, you'd be pretty good. I'd just be blatantly offensive.
Just ripping people, just like ripping apart
in
things.
a good way, though.
There's so many. Yeah, we want people to do well, right?
Yeah, I want musicians to play
That's the thing
well.
about music.net is that you can trust them that they want you to do well.
Yeah.
Because they're an independent music reviewer.
Exactly.
So you know that they want you to do well. They're not just saying it being like, oh, yeah. Because if they didn't care, they'd be like, oh, it's all right.
Yeah.
That's actually the worst. I reckon that's the worst review to get. That's okay.
Yeah.
It's like, oh. Like, was there
Slap
anything that
down.
stuck out? No.
Yeah.
I listened to it once and that was it.
Because if they said it was really bad and these guys sucked live and God, it was horrible and they were so offensive, I'd be like, oh, okay, I need to go see this.
Yeah, it's like, why
But
were they
even-
so bad?
We've even had this discussion with Harvard, like when we released that and we reached out to lots of people all around the world to review it. And we got a few back, and like we had one. I think we had one from France. We had one couple from like the Scandinavian region, and we get a lot of press in the UK, which is like all independent stuff. But it's amazing, and some of them were really honest. Like you could tell they had literally pulled, like you were saying, Scott, before about Diddy pulling the song apart. They had pulled our album apart and gone, I can hear this here, I can hear this band here. I didn't really get what they were doing here, but overall, 7.7 out of 10. Honest review. That's what you want.
Yeah.
You will never learn and get better if people just like 10 out of 10, amazing, and not add anything else to it.
Yeah.
I want people to be like, you know what? The drumming could have been better. Because otherwise I'm just going to be like, well, I must be doing all right.
Must be doing great.
I can actually tell, like, speaking from a drummer's point of view and seeing you from where the band was to where it is now, and myself included from, like, where I would write as a drummer now would be so far different than what I was. Mm-hmm. And I've seen a huge change in your drumming. And I hate to use this term, but it's like you've pulled back a little bit on some things, and it makes it so much bigger.
I've got a story about that too.
Have
What's
you
the story?
taken that damn bell off yet?
Okay. No, I love that bell. Zoran doesn't like that bell.
I was going to steal it. I always said to the guys in States, I said, one day I'm going to steal that.
No, that is that. If I'm gonna have a signature,
Because it's a Kris signature.
Yeah, that's my signature, man. No, you're right, 100% right. So when we started doing it in Eldo, there was definitely a bit of pullback, and then particularly in Harvard. In fact, I could break Harvard into two. It was recorded in 2 different years, effectively. And when we did the first batch of songs, I remember me and Nick's. People don't know that Nick has a massive amount of involvement in the direction of the songs. Wow. Like, because
I did not know that.
He's very, very honest.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
that was-
But he will. But the way he kind of sees the track going in his head, this is like, so between him and Mike, the back and forth of that is very push and pull and a lot of arguing, and it works. So like me and Diddy will be kind of, I'll be here, Diddy's over there, Mike's here, and Nick's here, and then it's just, and then eventually,
I can imagine that.
and then eventually the song comes out, and we're like, oh, whatever they're doing it just works.
Has it ever escalated?
Oh, there's been a lot of. I think when we wrote Mantra, I walked out of the room a few times. I think.
I can just imagine that brotherly, like.
I don't
Yeah.
people actually know that
Relationship.
Coridian, so it's Diddy and the Ravens to us.
Yeah.
Diddy and Scott, it's
yeah.
Diddy and the Ravens. It's not called Coridian, but it's 3 brothers and Diddy.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah, he's an adopted Raven.
Is adopted
Yeah.
Raven.
So back to that. Has it ever escalated?
Yeah, so there's never been a punch up of it, but there has been. Yeah, there's been a lot of verbal abuse.
Has your dad ever had to come and sort it out?
Oh, mate, no, not in person, but he has definitely.
Sat you boys down.
He had. I'm pretty sure he's called us up one by one and been like, "You got to sort this out, guys."
My damn kids are ruining.
Yeah.
Diddy has rung your
I'm
dad
sorry
and
about
gone,
this, Diddy. I'm
"It's-"
sorry about my sons.
He must have him on speed dial or
Yeah,
something.
he's like, hey, your boys have lost it again.
But whatever they do, it works. And then so with Nick, particularly around the Elder recording period, he was like, start not like just naturally, like you gotta pull back a bit, mate. Like
Yeah.
you don't need it. And then when we did Harvard, the first part, I noticed, and I don't know if people can, there's certain songs where you can see that I was probably had a little bit off the chain a bit too much. Then when we actually with Harvard, because we had the lockdowns and all that, we actually had the whole album written, recorded half of it, went into a lockdown, and then we couldn't get into a studio, so we actually scrapped the rest of the album, rewrote the second half.
True. That's a lot of work.
And by the time we had done that, my head was like, I've got to pull back. And I think just naturally over the years, between different conversations and where the music was kind of going. And Nick's like, look, I can't be the rhythm for the band all the time because you and Kris are going nuts. In fact, he makes a joke about it in one of our little videos we did on YouTube. So yeah, and so that just became a thing. So yeah, I've definitely pulled back because like you got to let the song breathe and all that. And yeah, so it's definitely something that I still definitely like. I'm always trying to make sure and now that we're writing new music, I'm like, yeah, okay.
You know what? I think you're gonna notice it now more than ever because of doing vocals, and that was the thing for me that before I even met Scott, that was my opener. Doing a solo song, is I got pulled up in a studio doing my solo track I got told I was doing way too much on the drums, and I had written 3 different drum parts to this track, and my mate brought me into the control room and he said, I'm scrapping all this. And I was like, but I've spent like months writing all these drum parts. He's like, yeah, but you're doing the vocals, bro. And he told me, don't think like a drummer, think like a singer. And I was like, holy shit. And he just said, pull back. And I just went and did like this basic 4/4 and it made total sense, left all this room. And there was elements where I could beef it up here and there. And I think that's probably what you will find even like now you're going forward and you're going to be like, right, I've got to do this vocal and this vocal. And then I think you'll have moments of where you can...
I actually just had a brain realization. I'm pretty sure I think like a guitarist when I play drums.
Well, you think like what, like a drum pattern, like a riff? Like a
yeah,
drum
so
pattern,
like
a riff?
often if Mike's got a riff, I'm like, because I know, you know, you don't always want to match everything the guitar's doing, but I think naturally my brain goes to that. And here's a fun fact for everyone listening. Diddy follows the bass lines.
Out of the...
Yeah. He has no interest in me and Mike.
No, look at Mike's like, man.
So I think we
What's
all...
Nick doing?
Maybe this is the reason where our music's the way it is we all follow a different person.
Wow.
And then come together at the end. But yeah.
So you follow
I'm pretty sure I follow Mike, Diddy follows Nick.
Nick follows Nick.
Nick follows Nick. Yeah. But yeah, maybe that's it.
Fuck, that's crazy. I had no
That's
idea.
a really interesting dynamic.
That is... That's like...
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
I kind of just the fact that the singer, because I know like sometimes like I've been in a band where like the singer like the bass will do a little vocal run, but as into like mostly follow like generally like your Diddy will have an ear for the low register of the bass.
Sting right now is like, that's exactly how you do it, man.
Well, what's interesting as well
Basically.
is we're super old school in terms of like recording and writing. Like we write all together in a room. I think there's never been a time where Mike's might have sent us files. That might change in the future, but we like that dynamic, and
That's the best part being in a band, right?
And I think when Mike or Nick present the riff or the idea, and even sometimes Diddy, I think that's where it all kind of starts stemming out from, because Diddy won't write the lyrics officially till the end. He's just writing melodies to match as he goes. And as the bass and stuff and everything's progressing, you can kind of see those patterns in the vocals moving with it, which is quite cool. Yeah.
Man, obviously for me, I always wrote to whatever the beat was, generally. As a vocalist, I think probably the same as Diddy is you kind of want to hear like a whole thing. And then put lyrics to it after that. But that's cool. That's cool that he's writing pieces. Yeah. I always was like, for me, I always needed to hear the majority of a finished product, and then be like, right, I know this part, this part, this part, this part, that.
No, he's there from the beginning, man. And that's maybe another reason the way our music is. He's he could be humming the melody and just saying gibberish words. And to us, we're like, oh, those are lyrics. And then you say to him, oh, have you got your lyrics written? And he's like, no, I haven't written them yet.
I'll do that. I'll do that like gibberishy sort of thing, but I'll never finalize like the actual lyrics. So it's obviously quite similar. Like,
yeah. I don't know if he finishes them in the studio or pre-studio recording, but yeah. And the other big thing for us has always been once I think on Caldera, we started working with Zoran on Blind Faith.
Great song.
That's a great song.
It's a great song.
That is a great song.
And we
actually.
toured with you guys on that release.
That was such a great song. I played with you guys on that song.
You did.
Yeah, and you're in the video.
That's right. I am in the video. I know that, but
Yeah.
I played live with you guys on that one. That was fun.
You did.
I'm trying to remember. Which show was that?
At the end of the tour, I
Was
think
it
Ding
Dan?
Dong, and we did that all ages show in that massive
That massive
community
hall
centre.
with like 30 people in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was the fastest I've ever played drums.
Yeah.
I don't do no. That is. There was a moment in that gig, and we played, and it was the fastest I'd ever played on a drum kit.
I
I remember you came back up and you're like, bro, we were like hauling us, and I was like, my feet have never moved that quick.
Yeah, I knew because my picking hand was just like going because it was one of the songs we had. It was just
Cleaner.
The breakdown was just like super quick, and it's funny because I write music of was using Guitar Pro, and as I was like I used to write all the riffs out and give it like the bassist or even give it to Scotty and stuff, and then it was like the tempo. And then the guitar, I'm like, that's like 200 beats. What the fuck are we doing?
Fuck, we went
And then we play live, and we play it even faster. It's probably like something ridiculous.
It was hectic.
I gotta
Yeah.
say, I've gone back and found some YouTube videos before we were on Clicks, and I'm so sorry, guys. Like,
way too excited. Always get too excited.
Holy shit! that's ridiculous.
So
Like, even
when we were at Robbie's, me and him used to film ourselves writing and seeing how we play because we were like, yeah, that's mean. And we watch back and just be like,
yeah.
oh dear.
It's like a race to the end.
yeah, you're like, oh wait, okay.
It doesn't even look good because
Yeah.
we're like challenging each other.
Yeah. There's definitely a bit of like musical sprints. Like, how far?
I think it was when we were in Chuck Norris, the instrumental.
I remember
thing.
that band.
I watched a video on YouTube and I was like, that is so fast. I don't know how those guys did it. That's what you guys were saying with you playing. And oh man, I could never go back from Clicks now.
Neither.
It
I agree.
is like safety and it just
Solid.
feels right.
Solid.
But no, what I was going to say as well was going back to the Blind Faith thing. When we worked with Zoran, that was the first time, and he was like, do you want me to record it? Do you want me to mix it? Do you want me to master it? Do you want me to produce it? How do you want to do it? And our arrangement pretty much from that day was, we want you to produce it, and you're like the fifth member, you have everything you say, we will think about, and then we'll probably use it. And that's how I've gone ever since. And I think that really helped us develop our sound and who we are. And I'd say that, like, having a producer, life-changing.
Yeah.
And not everyone wants to do it because everyone is very like, this is my art and I don't want to give it away. But for us, it was massive. So going back to your other thing about how you write drum parts, I'm like, when I write a drum part, I'm also thinking of Zoran's in my head and I'm like, okay, so maybe I should change the second verse slightly so that it's not,
Copy paste.
because that's a big thing that he's always kind of said to me. So I'm always like, don't overplay, but make it more creative.
It's progressive.
Colourful.
Yeah.
Make
Progressive.
it make
Yeah,
it more
but
colourful
it makes
as well.
it makes the drummers like North Lane's drummer, whose name is Nick, makes how I've just spoken about this, not to you directly, but it makes how the North Lane drummer is actually doing so much and makes it sound so basic and so solid, and there's just these little nuance hits that and I'm like,
Bro, you know how they do the recording
so
process,
good.
though?
No, I don't. I have no idea.
Okay, so I don't think the first two albums, but I think ever since, don't quote me on which album, but ever since one album they've done, they record the drums at the end.
I've always wanted to do this.
Interesting.
And
Right
it
at the end.
makes so much sense
for
when you
what
listen
he's
to
doing.
the albums. And because and I've noticed even with him, like I've been listening to heaps of Northlane because I'm getting in the headspace. And I've gone all the way back to Discoveries again, and I was listening to because Quantum Flux is my all-time favorite song by them, and those just what you're talking about that. Dun, 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 ba, ba, da, dun, 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 like he does all that weird like robotic movement. And you're like, surely, like, the way they've written that or recorded that, he must have had to do it. I don't know. But, and then you notice in the newer albums, he is a bit more straighter. But he has those little flourishes where you're like, God damn it, man.
Like, he does it so cleanly, and it bugs the shit out of me because it's done so well. And it's when I see, like, the live footage of him drumming, and it'd be like his drum cam. And I'm like, what? Yeah, you've done I don't even hear that. And then I have to go back to the song and I'm like, oh, fuck. He is doing that.
He's so underrated, man.
Yeah, he is
Very
underrated.
Incredible.
Back to the Blind Faith song, I have a thing about that because we went away on tour and we played in Tauranga and there's a song by you guys and for the life of me I can never remember it. And I remember we played in Tauranga and you guys were on stage. We were going on afterwards. And there was this little room out back where we were, I don't know, drinking beers or whatever. But you had gone somewhere and Alana had gone somewhere. And I don't know, Felix was probably doing heroin. Well, he definitely did afterward. But he fucking...
Wow.
I remember there's this one song that you guys play and it makes me fucking cry. Every fucking time. I hate to say, that's a good thing, right? But I'd actually just had like a really, really bad breakup that still affects me today. Now, I remember sitting out the back and you guys playing I can't remember the name of the song.
Wasn't Reflections, was it?
Oh, maybe it is.
Because that's Diddy's. I didn't realize this as well. There's like a trilogy within songs. So Reflections is Reflections is the breakup song. Better Off is the being okay with yourself song without being in a relationship, and then Redefine is about finding that person.
Yeah, well, that's one of maybe it is that one, but I remember I was out back and I was just bawling. No one knew this, but you guys were on stage. I was out back, just literally fucking a mess. Didn't matter because I got laid by some group that night. So,
Yeah, you did.
I did. It was great. She approached me. She didn't even know I was drumming on stage.
She thought you were a roadie.
Yeah, I was putting drums in the car,
that.
and she was
No,
like, "Hey,
that.
man," and I won't go into the details, but you know,
He's the roadie.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's a song that you guys play, and every time you play it, it takes me to this moment that, for me, breakups with girls or whatever, but the song, yeah, it probably is Reflections, I think. Every time you play it, I'm like, water up every time, which is a good
that's cool that it hits you like that. And that's, and we've definitely got some songs like that. I know Lost Heroes, which was on Elder, was written around the time where Diddy's partner's granddad had died and Nick's dog died. And yeah, there was obviously a bit of death going on in our circle, and we wrote that, and we basically don't really play it live because it's basically piano, acoustic guitar, and vocals. And I've had some pretty amazing messages from people all over about that song, and so
That's so cool.
It's crazy that even just our little old band in New Zealand, when you see those messages, you're just like, whoa.
It affects people.
It's awesome. And even just talking to people, like, it's great now on this last run that we did with shows. Now that I guess we're still being careful with things, but being able to just talk to people and one-on-one, and either new people that have discovered us that show or have seen us however many times or travelled. We get people travelling from other towns now. I'm like,
that's so cool. So cool.
That's crazy.
You guys deserve all that, man.
Thank you.
You guys really do. You guys work so hard.
Well, that's the thing I've always said is like I've never understood why it was. I just feel like it belongs on a bigger stage now. That's where I feel like the band is and the whole work behind it. I'm like, promoters, if a promoter ever listens to this, put them on a big stage. Don't they'll just turn up and play and you'll get a really good set.
Yeah.
Like, phenomenal set.
No, I appreciate that.
So, and this isn't music.net where I'm just sucking some dick. This is straight up. Just after all the years of seeing you guys play, it just needs to be on a bigger stage now, and I think, you guys have earned it.
That's what old Daddy Raven always says.
Yeah, mate.
Shout out to Richard. He's always like, why aren't you guys playing at this big festival? And I'm like, oh, Dad, I don't know.
Mate, I thought your dad looked like the Godfather, one time. He rolled in and he had like a coat on and like a scarf, and I was like, it's the Godfather.
Yeah, we call him the Tone Father.
Tone Father.
Yeah, because he's a guitarist as well.
So he critiques.
Oh, no, it's great. So he will ring all three of us individually the following day after a gig, and he will give us his post-show review. And he's really good, and he's quite honest too. It's great. He'll be like, you guys played good. He's like, but I noticed in this song, and I'm like, there he is. That's cool. I love it.
That'd be great
Tone
for
farm.
when you've done your demos, right? Like
Yeah.
you do your demos. Hey, Dad, what do you reckon about this?
Nah, he gets so annoyed. We're like, oh, we recorded when we recorded the album, we had the mixes back. He's like, do I get to hear them though? And I'm like, nah, no one can hear them, eh? And he's like, but no, you got to send them. So we wind him up and then send him the songs, and he loves it. But yeah,
Nice.
it's good to have him.
That's sick. All right, sweet. I did this with JP, so I'm going to do it again. It's my quick fire questions that I think of just on the spot. I don't plan anything.
I'm waiting.
All right. Best drum brand. Go.
Oh yeah. Well, I'm just gonna have to say Pearl because that's all I've had.
That's all you've had?
Yep.
Really? Is the only kit you've owned is Pearl?
Yep.
Wow.
Yep. I've still got my
Why?
original OG Pearl
Okay.
Select series with a 20-inch kick.
Yeah.
And
I played that kit.
you've played that kit?
I have.
Yeah, and I've got a Vision as well. I originally started on what was it? It was a Dixon.
Oh, really?
Don't even think they make them anymore.
I don't think I even know
It
it.
sounded dope, and I learned how to play drums on a Remo, which was also awesome. But yeah, now Pearl, and yeah, lots of my favorite drummers play Pearl, so I'm gonna go with that.
Fair enough.
Steve Judd, I'm pretty sure, is on Pearl from Carnival, maybe.
No.
Don't know.
All right. Metalcore or pop punk?
Oh no, that's not fair. That's not fair. Yes. Those are literally two of my all-time favorite genres.
That's why I said it.
Yeah,
Because I know you love it.
yeah, I love it.
I know you love
It's funny. Me and all the boys love metal and hardcore and pop punk and all that, and then we just don't even play that music.
it. That's the best part.
Yeah,
Because you can take influences from it and then do it in your own way.
yeah.
Even cool.
No, I'm not. That's not fair.
So-
I don't like that question.
Don't like that question.
No.
What's another quick fire?
What's another quick fire? Okay, I'll do that. Overrated, underrated. Underrated drummer in your eyes.
Well, as we've just been talking about, we'll go Nick Peterson from Northland.
Yeah.
Northland?
Yeah.
Okay, and overrated drummer who gets hyped up and you're like, maybe not.
I've
that
said
great.
I've already said this one before.
Overrated drummer.
Yeah.
Now I'm going blank. All I'm thinking is Chad Smith, but he's a great drummer.
No, he's great.
From Chili's, he is great.
He's a great drummer, and I've got a snare drum as well. Still got that snare drum
Really?
There you
Yeah.
go.
Yo.
from how many years? It's so old, but I love it. Overrated drummer. Probably Danny Carey from Tool. Nah, jokes. He's phenomenal. He's great. You know what? I can't answer that either.
Can't answer that
No, no,
I'll answer it, Lars.
Lars?
no. I'm gonna have
Really?
No,
Go!
no. I'm gonna have to defy you on that.
Okay.
I think Lars gets way too much discredit
No, I credit him as a songwriter, as an absolute genius.
and a businessman.
As when we rated him as a businessman and a songwriter, freaking genius.
Yeah.
As a drummer,
I'm not going to go out and say that he's the best drummer in the world, but he has written parts for songs that will last our lifetime.
yeah, he's a songwriter.
The double
guru.
kicks in one, every kid growing up listens to that and goes, whoa,
Yeah.
that is amazing. Even okay, I'm going to be really lame here. I love Load and Reload.
I like
the
Load.
alternative albums,
I
right?
like. The
I
pop
like
stuff.
Load.
But
Ain't
again,
My Bitch is a fucking banger.
there's a beat
great
in
song.
Until It Sleeps.
Yep.
And
great
it's
song.
the first time I'm pretty sure he's played a ride cymbal.
It might be.
I'm pretty sure. But the beat in there is like. Dun, dun, bun, dun, 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 bun, dun, 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 dun. I love that beat.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, actually, going back, underrated drummer, Sean Kinney from Alice in Chains.
Yeah.
No one ever gives that guy credit for everything.
yeah,
The
true,
beats he writes are so good, so much groove. But yeah, so no, I'll fight you on Lars in terms of drumming as well.
I've always rated Lars on the songwriting and business. Like he is
Yeah.
why that band is what it is.
He really is.
Just
Yeah.
as a drummer, I'm just like,
I'm not sitting there like pulling inspiration out of him, but I'm like, as for what he's done and to where he's gone, I think his drumming
he's-
should be credited.
okay,
All right. What's another one? Great venue to play in New Zealand. One of your favorite venues.
It's hands down the Power Station.
Power Station.
100%. That's my favorite venue to view music and to play the lucky 2 times that we did. And I just think everything about that venue is perfect. Perfect size. Perfect sound.
I would argue that, but yeah.
oh, but on stage,
Okay, on stage? Or are you talking about as an audience
I'm talking
member?
about both.
Okay, both?
Maybe I'm
never
like
played
that
there,
guy. I'm that guy that stands next to the sound desk.
Yeah.
And 99% of the gigs I've been to, I've never had an issue with the sound.
Okay.
But a close second would be King's Arms.
Rest in peace. That venue was so good.
Just for like the memories, and again, like just for bands like us and you guys, and then also internationals. And I will do a shout out to Dead Witch Ding Dong, because
We're getting better.
been amazing for us for years. And Dave, who does the sound there, he's always been good to us too. So.
Yeah, that venue's had a massive evolution.
It has.
Since I first went there.
Yeah.
10 years ago.
Played on the floor.
Yep. Same.
Yep.
I played on the floor, yeah. Wow. Yeah.
And there's so many people that are like credited for that, for like making it the way it's gone. So yeah, it's definitely a good heartbeat of the Auckland rock scene.
Okay, here's another one I've just thought of. What is a band or an artist that you listen to that may surprise people?
Oh,
Probably everything.
that's such a like yeah. What do you listen to? Oh, just a little bit of everything. It's like such a throwaway answer.
Yeah.
Who I listen to that people would be surprised by? I don't know. I really love drum and bass. I went to Wilkinson's last gig.
Yeah.
That was
at
dope.
a Trust?
At Spark.
Spark.
I'm a massive Wu-Tang Clan fan.
Wu-Tang Clan?
Yeah.
Nice.
I do like my 90s hip hop. Me and my missus got tickets to Melanie Martinez.
Don't know.
She's like a kind of art pop singer, a little bit on the dark side, pretty cool. Yeah.
What's who's okay? He's asked me about this once. It's like, which is the best band I've ever seen live, and it was actually Seven Dust.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Who's the best where you've actually just been completely gobsmacked?
yeah,
just like
mouth dry.
fuck, that hits everything.
I'm gonna have to be like probably a lame drummer here and say Tool, and I have seen them
Fair.
5 times. But the last time I saw them, literally 3 days before the first New Zealand lockdown at Spark Arena, me and my friend had just dropped something, and we had the side view at Spark, and we could see Danny Carey and Justin, and those are pretty much the 2 guys I care about the most in that band anyway. And it was just witnessing, again, those mouth drop moments of going, how? In fact, I was watching Justin more because I was like, dude, this guy is like in a mesmerizing groove state the entire time. Danny's going wild, but then also sometimes he can be really subdued as well. And so I think that in terms of watching musicianship, like that for me was just like,
And the sound was like,
the sound was great.
Yeah.
And I'm basically a student studying this right now. Like that was, I have to go with that.
So nerdy. But yeah, that's what music is. I do that as well. That's a lot of watch guitarists. I'm like,
And again, like I'm not like, I love Tool. I've followed them since I was a kid, but I'm not probably like a uber fan like everyone else. Like again, love my pop punk, love my metalcore.
yeah.
But yeah, I guess that stands out because of that. Everything had led up to seeing how we saw them, you know. Yeah.
Yeah, this reminds me of when I saw The Word Alive play, and I saw them open for Parkway, and I knew some of the stuff. I didn't think much of it.
That was at Trust, eh? ASB Showgrounds?
No, ASB Showgrounds, yeah. And I can't remember the guitarist's name in that band. I was blown the fuck away from not just his guitar playing, but his vocals and what he plays and sings. I was like, what the fuck? I was like, this guy's crazy, because he was doing like crazy runs, backing vocals, jumping around. Like, I was like, I'll take back what I was thinking. This guy's amazing. Anyway, it just reminds me like moments like that. I love being blown away by people. I'm like, oh, I don't know how good they'll be. And you're like, yeah.
I tell you, a drummer that absolutely blows my mind is Austin Archie from Lorna Shore.
Lorna Shore, fuck, they're
Have
brutal.
you ever watched any of their playthroughs?
I've only ever watched like the music videos and stuff.
Again, I don't know how people do blast beats. I'm very average at that. Double kicks, I'm average at. But I love watching like extreme metal drummers because I'm just like, what planet are you guys on, man? But this dude, he's playing like Abe Cunningham from Deftones, and it's just super groovy, and his feet are just
Machine guns.
for 8 minutes. I'm like, what?
Some people that do that, they just train, and because I found for drumming as well, like the double bass stuff, it is just training, and that's the only way. I mean, there is a lot to do with setup as well, and I don't know, you probably never played my build. I had those Trick Pro 1V direct drive things, and they're very awkward to learn how to play, but I struggle to play. I can play chain drive pedals, but getting on my tricks, because I can do some really weird stuff. I can speed up, slow down, add little flurries and all that, and I can play super quick. And it feels weird because I've used them for so long that I think I could jump back on now and just play fast.
Yeah.
And not as quick as what I used to, but I could definitely rival a lot of drummers. I'd be like, it's what made me learn is just training on those things over and over again. But yeah, some drummers out there, you just sit there and same thing. I've seen like these death metal drummers in Europe, and it is a whole new level of it sort of turns into a hum. It's a
well, that's the thing. Like I listen to I love extreme metal and I love the drumming they do, but I don't take away like wanting to be like that or play like that, because
just impressed and enjoy it.
My school of drumming is Abe from Deftones, because I just love groove, and same with Chad Smith or and if you want like kind of your pop punk in there, Travis Barker or something, but like I just love those dudes that sit in the pocket but they carry the song and they have those little beautiful moments of just
that's where I think we both agree on with Nick from North Lane, is you kind of get the best of everything.
Yeah,
you really do with that guy. You can watch his drum cam videos and just be blown away. But when you listen to the track, it's actually just carrying the song, and you're like, oh yeah, not much is going on until you actually see it. And it's like, oh shit.
So a very progressive band though.
Yeah, amazing.
Sweet.
Love it.
Oh well,
I think that might be it.
That might be it, mate.
Yeah. Unless you have anything else to add? Any other promo we want to do?
Yeah, I will chuck out some promo actually.
Go.
We have our first vinyl. For Harbour. Obviously, we're still waiting on it, but we're hoping to have it here just before the next tour. So if anyone listening is coming to a show, Pull Down the Sun show in late August, early September, or throughout September, we will have vinyl available. So yeah, it's going to sound sick. I can't wait to hear that in my ears. But yeah, so we are supporting Pull Down the Sun on 6 shows. We will be at Auckland, Hamilton, the Mount for the first time in God knows how long, Nelson, Dunedin, Christchurch.
Fuck yeah,
So very excited. Would love to see all our friends there and support the Pull Down the Sun boys because they're incredible. And yeah, otherwise, let's party at Northland, people.
Fuck yeah.
Hell yeah. Oh, sweet. We'll call it there.
Thank you so much, guys.
Oh, of course, man.
All right.
It was a good time. Peace.